Hello there. Today we're going to talk about how to build, how to construct the simple past with the verb to be. Now let's start with this tutorial. Everything is based on this picture that you can see in your screen now, which involves how to use the verb to be. The verb to be is very simple. The first thing you have to remember is that when you work with verb to be, you have almost something like here or something like that. Well, let's start with this first part. The verb to be past and present. Okay, first we need to learn how to make affirmative sentences, then negative, then the questions. So everything is simple. Let's use this final page so you understand. For example, whenever we're talking about the simple present of verb to be, we are going to talk about specifically the verb to be in simple present, which is the conjugation that you know very well. That involves the conjugation am, is, are. And if you remember, the conjugation is like you say I am always, you say he, she, it for using is, and we say you, they, and we for using are. So it's very important to remember this, because what we're going to do now for the past is something very simple. That is the simple present. Now we're going to just transform the simple past of verb to be. Okay, so it's almost the same. So that's where we're gonna copy it. So the same. The only thing you have to do is now to replace. Instead of having I am, now we're going to say I was. Instead of having he is, she is, or it is, we're going to have was. He was, she was, it was. Instead of having you are, they are, we are, we're going to have were. So you were, they were, we were. So if you analyze, verb to be is like simplified now, because you only have two variants, not three like it usually occurred in the past. So this is what we have, and based on this, everything is gonna be the same. So nothing is gonna change, in fact. So let's come back to this first picture now, which is better understood. For example, if you have in the present John is 70 years old, or you say he is old, just into the past you will have the same. John was, instead of is, 10 years old. So it's just like you're talking into the past. And then you have he was young, alright, instead of saying he is old, now you say he was young. So these sentences are today, and this is 60 years ago. A very frequent word for past is this word ago, that means hace un tiempo, alright, 60 years ago. So that's what we're saying, that 60 years ago John was 10 years old and he was young. Alright, just the past, you just use the same conjugation, and the subject and the complement are the same. Then we will have some like For example, now we are together, and in the past it should be in here, we were together, right? As you said. Now, something very important is that as you're gonna see, nothing changes. In fact, we're gonna make some zoom here, but nothing changes in relation with the present. For example, you can see in this chart that we have for example, into the present I used to say I am happy, he is rich, she is a nurse, it is easy, we are early, you are at school, they are quiet. So sentences that you know very well how to make it. In all of the cases on this hand we have adjectives and more adjectives and adverbs, and then we only use the same without changing anything, and we say I was sad, he was poor, she was a student, it was difficult, we were late, you were at home, they were noisy. So you're just changing the middle part of the verb, then the rest is absolutely the same, so nothing changes. Something that you have to be into account, something that you have to have into account is that in past we're going to use the words yesterday, last month, last week, last year. This word last usually will go in combination with some time words like month, week, year, day, etc. And last means the ultimate thing. Alright, like last month, right? You know, last month is like, for example, now we're in March, last month was February. Alright, something like this. And like last year was 2018. And in present we use now, right now, and at the moment, which are present words. For example, I was sad yesterday, but I am happy at the moment. She was a student last year, but she is a nurse now. They were busy last week, but they are free right now. So I imagine that you have no so much questions, but anyway, we're going to see now a summary of all of this grammar, which comes in this chart. So in other words, when you're making an affirmative sentence with the verb to be in past is the same as in present, you use the subject at the beginning, the conjugation of the verb to be, and then comes the complement, as you know. The negative is the same. The negative is subject, then you will have was or were plus not. Alright? And then you will have wasn't and weren't. The interrogative is as in the present, you just move the verb to be in front of the subject, like saying was I, were you, was he, was she, was it, were we, were you, were they, or something. Okay? So for example, we're gonna make some examples now. Some examples here. We're gonna use like one sentence, like for example, let's make it she was a medicine student last year. So that is my sentence, which is my affirmative sentence. Now we're gonna make the negative, which is she wasn't a medicine student last year. So it's the same. And then we have the interrogation, which is just moving, like saying was she a medicine student last year? Last year. Last. And as you know, this is a yes no question, so you say yes she was, no she wasn't. All right, so and then finally we will make an example with the WH question, like what was she last year? And then you say she was a medicine student, just like that. Now let's make an example with were, like this is an example with was. Let's make an example with were. Alright, so let's write like, oops, let's write something like we were in London last month, which is the positive. Now let's make the negative, which is we weren't in London last month. So it's the same. Then we have were we in London last month. Of course, yes, we were. No, we weren't. Then the, I don't know, where were we last month? We were in London, just like that. Okay, so I guess you got the idea. It's not very difficult, just you have to be careful with this. You have to be careful that whenever you are adding these words, you have to just follow the formula. Okay, the formula at the end is as simple as verb to be in present, which is something like this. You know, so you will have the verb to be starting with the subject, then we will have the verb to be, the conjugation was or were, then we will have the complement. Remember that in the simple present, the complement of verb to be could be a noun, obviously using an article, and at the same time it could have an adjective. And remember that the adjective is neutral, so you don't need to use it with anything. Okay, well, I hope you like it. I hope you understand. See you in classes.